New Year's Eve had always been a special time for me. It was a night of celebration, of leaving the past behind and looking forward to new beginnings. This particular New Year's, I was with my longtime friend, someone I had known for years. We had been through a lot together, and our friendship was something I cherished deeply. That night, we were both really drunk, more than usual. The night started with us laughing, reminiscing about old times, and sharing stories we had told a million times before. As the night progressed, the atmosphere shifted subtly. We ended up on the couch, close together. The warmth of the alcohol made me feel unusually affectionate, and before I knew it, we were cuddling. It was innocent at first, or at least that's what I told myself. But then he started flirting with me, very sneakily. His words were soft and his touch gentle, but there was a current of something more beneath it all. At that moment, I should have stopped it. I knew he had a girlfriend, even though I had never met her. She was in another state, which made it easy to pretend she didn't exist. But deep down, I knew it was wrong. I've always hated homewreckers with a passion. The irony of what was happening was not lost on me. But that night, I made an out-of-character mistake. I let things go too far. We crossed a line that should never have been crossed. The next morning, as the fog of alcohol lifted, the reality of what had happened hit me like a ton of bricks. The guilt was immediate and overwhelming. I felt like I was drowning in it. I couldn't believe what I had done. This wasn't me. This wasn't who I was. But there was no taking it back. The mistake had been made, and now I had to deal with the consequences. This guy, my friend, was not a good guy. I knew that. He had a history of cheating on women, a pattern of behavior that should have been a red flag for me. He was a known narcissist, someone who manipulated and used people to get what he wanted. And now, I had been pulled into his web of deceit. It was a terrible realization, but it was my reality. A few days later, I received a message on social media. It was from his girlfriend. My heart sank as I read her words. She had heard rumors and wanted to know the truth. He had been coming up with lies, trying to paint himself in a better light, but she wasn't buying it. She wanted to know what really happened, and she had come to me for answers. I had a choice to make. I could lie to her, cover for him, and keep my mistake hidden. Or I could tell her the truth and risk the fallout. It wasn't an easy decision, but in the end, I chose honesty. I couldn't live with myself if I lied to her. So I told her everything. I confirmed his lies, told her the details of that night, and apologized profusely. I felt horrible for what had happened, and I wanted her to know that. She thanked me heavily for telling the truth. She appreciated my honesty, even though it hurt her. She also asked me about his past and what he had done that was so bad. I hesitated for a moment, but then I decided she deserved to know. So I told her everything I knew and had witnessed firsthand. I told her about his cheating, his manipulation, and his narcissism. I wanted her to see the full picture, to understand the kind of person he was. Of course, it didn't take long for him to find out what I had done. He was furious. He sent me an audio message, cursing me out and telling me I had ruined his life. His words were harsh and filled with anger, but I didn't let them get to me. I knew I had done the right thing, even if he couldn't see it. The real problem came when our mutual friend found out. This friend had known him longer than me and had always been closer to him. When they heard about what I had done, they talked to him first. They believed his version of events, and before I knew it, they were cutting me off and ignoring me. It hurt more than I expected. Losing him as a friend was one thing, but losing our mutual friend over it was something else entirely. I tried to reach out to our mutual friend to explain my side of the story, but they wouldn't listen. They had made up their mind, and nothing I said could change that. It was frustrating and painful. I felt like I was being punished for doing the right thing. But even in the midst of that pain, I knew I wouldn't have done anything differently. I had been honest, and I had acted with integrity. That was what mattered most to me. Days turned into weeks, and the fallout continued. The mutual friend avoided me at gatherings, and I started to feel like an outcast in my own social circle. It was isolating, but I tried to focus on the fact that I had done what I believed was right. I found solace in the small things: reading, writing in my journal, and spending time with friends who understood and supported me. One evening, while sitting alone in my apartment, I received another message from his girlfriend. She thanked me again for my honesty and told me that she had broken up with him. She said that my words had given her the clarity and strength she needed to walk away from a toxic relationship. Reading her message brought tears to my eyes. It was a bittersweet moment, knowing that my actions had helped someone else, even as they had caused me so much personal pain. The weeks turned into months, and slowly, I began to rebuild. I met new people, made new friends, and started to find joy in my life again. The mutual friend never came back around, and I had to accept that some relationships couldn't be saved. But I learned a lot through the process. I learned about the importance of honesty, even when it's hard. I learned about the strength it takes to stand by your principles, even when others don't understand. I also learned to forgive myself. It wasn't easy, but I knew that holding on to the guilt and shame wouldn't help anyone. I made a mistake, but I owned up to it and tried to make amends. That was all I could do. In time, I found peace with what had happened. One day, out of the blue, I received a message from the mutual friend. They wanted to talk. We met at a cafe, the same one where so much had happened months before. They apologized for cutting me off and explained that they had been confused and hurt by the situation. They had needed time to process everything and see things clearly. We talked for hours about the past, about our friendship, and about what had happened. It wasn't an easy conversation, but it was necessary. In the end, we both apologized and decided to try to rebuild our friendship. It wouldn't be the same as before, but it was a start. As time went on, I continued to move forward. The experience had changed me, but it had also made me stronger. I was more cautious about who I trusted, but I also knew that I could handle difficult situations with integrity and honesty. The mistakes of the past didn't define me. They shaped me into a better, more resilient person. Looking back, I'm grateful for the lessons I learned. I'm grateful for the strength I found within myself and for the people who supported me through the tough times. Life is messy and complicated, but it's also full of opportunities for growth and redemption. I made a mistake, but I faced it head-on and came out the other side stronger and wiser. Now, as I stand on the brink of another new year, I'm hopeful and excited for what's to come. I know there will be challenges, but I also know that I have the strength and resilience to face them. I'm ready for whatever life throws my way, knowing that I have the courage to stay true to myself and my principles. And that, above all else, is the most important lesson I've learned.